Reactor spaces. Warning. A coolant leak in the power reactor has contaminated the reactor spaces. You are in a radiation hazard area. All personnel must wear proper protective gear and carry radiation monitoring equipment. Warning. A coolant leak in the power reactor has contaminated the reactor spaces. You are in a radiation hazard area. All personnel must wear proper protective gear and carry radiation monitoring equipment.
Computer?
The main computer is down. Voice access to engineering systems only.
Status report.
The situation in the engineering module is critical. Multiple enemy beam weapon and missile hits registered between 22:30:14 and 22:31:45 have caused a criticality 1 fault in the primary power reactor coolant system. Containment failure is imminent. Containment failure will result in the loss of the ship. Contact with the main computer system was lost at 22:31:22. Local systems took over monitoring and control of autonomic functions at 22:31:23. There are also multiple criticality 2 and 3 faults which require attention once conditions have stabilized.
Describe critical faults.
DCS faults are listed in order of criticality. Criticality 1. The coolant system for the primary power reactor has failed. Coolant pipes were ruptured by shear stress from missile impacts and by the heat from beam weapon strikes that penetrated the hull. Radioactive coolant has escaped into crew spaces. Coolant loss has reached critical levels. The reactor core temperature is rising. Containment failure is imminent. Criticality 2. Multiple engineering systems have suffered primary and secondary failures. These are criticality 2 faults because these systems have tripped tertiary backups and are now operating without any backup at all. The affected systems are fusion containment monitoring, thrust vectoring control, compression laser calibration, compression laser monitoring and control, deuterium-tritium fuel feed, FCS damping, FCS switching, gamma flux monitoring, and the superconducting magnetic coils in sections Charlie, Golf, November, and X-ray.
How do I deal with the reactor coolant failure?
Access the reactor coolant system through the console in the main engineering area.
What is the reactor coolant system?
The reactor coolant system consists of a network of holding tanks, pipes, pumps, and automated valves. The RCS console provides manual control of the system.
What will happen if reactor containment fails?
The core will reach a temperature such that it will melt through the reactor containment vessel and then fall in the direction of thrust. Currently, the Lexington is in a 0.2 G-powered orbit around Persephone. The molten core would thus fall aft and down, melting through the engineering module of the ship.
Why isn't there magnetic containment for the core?
The operating principle behind the ship's power reactor is a slow fission system, not a sustained plasma fusion reaction common to planet-based power systems. Magnetic containment would be inappropriate given the design criteria for the ship.
Can't I just shut the reactor down? Why does the ship need a reactor if it has fusion engines?
The power reactor cannot be scrammed because the control rods are currently jammed in a position that represents 75% of the reactor's operating capacity. Coolant must be restored to the core in order to bring the reactor temperature down. The answer to the second question is that the reactor provides the power for the initial charge of the capacitors that fire the compression lasers in the fusion engines. The compression lasers collapse the fuel pellets and create the fusion reaction that drives the ship. The power reactor also feeds the ship's electrical systems, indirectly supplying power to all life support, computer, communications, and optoelectronic systems.
Do any of the Criticality 2 faults represent an immediate danger to the ship?
Negative. All systems with Criticality 2 faults are operating within acceptable parameters. They are identified as Criticality 2 faults because they are Class 1 systems, and there are now no backup systems in case of further damage.
I'm done.
Access terminated by user.
Computer?
The main computer is down.
Has anything changed?
The Criticality 1 fault in the primary reactor coolant system has been repaired. Reactor temperatures are returning to normal.
I'm done.
Access terminated by user. Deck 6.
computer?
The main computer is down.
Is there anything I should know about?
Contact with the main computer system was lost at 22:31:22. Local systems took over monitoring and control of autonomic functions at 22:31:23.
Has anything changed?
No change in status.
I'm done.
Access terminated by user. Deck 2.